Guys. Wow.
Ibrahim Traoré will be killed by his own people that he has been trying to help. And Burkina Faso will be worse than they were before. These are my predictions, not a doom's prediction. It's a pattern that has been working.
Hello guys, you need to watch this video and see what is really happening in the world. Before we get into it, just hit the like button. Oh yes, the like button. Just hit it. Are you done? Okay, share it for me. Share this video. Are you done sharing it? I appreciate it. Now, let's get into the video.
So these two police unalived someone in Kenya as civilians. So there is protest in Kenya because of how police, they've been unaliving civilians. So all Kenyans, they are on the street protesting. They don't want this to continue. So a guy was just hawking his own things. He was just selling face masks and water. And these two police, they went to him. He was not causing any chaos. He was just standing with his own mask and water trying to sell out. But these two police, they went in on his head. When everyone is watching daylight, when there is even people taking videos, like they were not scared at all. Like they were given an order to take them all out. This guy was not supposed to go like that. He was just trying to fight, to sell things so that he can get money and go feed his family. But this police, can you believe this? Right now, they're not even arrested yet. Where there are videos everywhere showing exactly what they did, they are still not arrested. They are still walking free. Where the president of Kenya is still saying that the police are not unaliving everyone, that there is peace in Kenya, but still they did it in daylight while everyone is watching.
Cousins, as we call each other lately, I cannot say anymore that I am proud to be Kenyan. Ukweli usemwe, sijivuni kuwa Mkenya, sio kwa sasa. We have been on the streets for far too long, trying to speak up against injustices, and it has fallen on deaf ears. We are signaling a blind person, and worse so, signaling a blind person in the dark. We are on our own. Why do I say that? When you see the government abdicate authority to goons, we have to stand up and protect ourselves now. Power and authority is given by God. But this government has passed on their God-given authority to Mikora, thugs, and goons. They have given the authority to goons and stepped back to kill us from behind. A government we are supposed to obey and respect has given its power to thugs. What the government has just told us is Mkora, a thug, a goon, now has authority. Mwananchi sasa yuko chini ya gaidi. We are seconds away from state-sponsored militia. Walai. I know those are tough words to hear, but that is what it is. Now the people who are supposed to protect us are killing and destroying us. I know it's not all of them. I saw a hashtag today on X that said not all cops are bad. But we all know that when one apple is rotten, it spoils the whole basket. So whatever that is doesn't hold any water. Not anymore. There was a triple de-escalation attempt by the government the other day, the day before yesterday. The first thing was the stepping aside of the DIG that was aimed at appeasing our anger. We did not want that. We wanted a RAP, RAP, resignation, arrest, and prosecution of the people involved in the brutal murder of Albert Ojwang. And that's why people took it to the streets yesterday. The second attempt was the long-winded speech proposing police reforms in the country, which, if you ask me, too little too late. They should have called it back when we were mourning the Kianjakoma brothers. And the third attempt was the speech by Ojwang's father, who seemed to change the rhythm and the tune of his song of grief from justice must be served to Asante at the slightest smell of money. We all got mad about it, and that's why we took to the streets yesterday. Because if he can let go of the grief he has for 2 million shillings, we don't want to continue dying the same way his son died. Watu hukufa kila wakati, he said. We will go after what we believe is the right thing. The triple escalation attempt was slapped in the face yesterday because the problem we were facing was still not gone. It was the same. The cancer was still spreading. The worst happened. An innocent man fending for himself is picked on, harassed, and shot by a cop at point-blank range. He posed no threat to whoever was around him, not even the askari who shot him and walked away, like nothing happened. If this doesn't infuriate you enough, nothing ever will. We have been dealing with the tip of the iceberg. Now the iceberg is showing and it looks like a mountain. I hope you woke up to this morning infuriated as much as you went to bed last night. Kenya has never been this bad. The previous worst regime we ever had now looks like child play compared to this one. The future of this country, which lives in the loins and the brains of the young people, does not matter anymore to this regime. Don't tell me this regime cares about the young people or the future, because if they did, they would not be killing us from every side. Young people in this country, to this regime, are dispensable and can be discarded at will without regard to preservation of human life or remorse when one of us is killed. We are being killed from every side. Killed for fending for ourselves, killed because we don't have jobs, killed by the high cost of living, and killed for fighting for our rights. Cousins, we are on our own. The big question is, how do we end this? Because it has to stop, or we are all dead.
So in case you've not been following the news as an African, but you are occupied by the useless news of China versus American trade war, let me update you on what is going on in Burkina Faso. One of the leading and the most promising countries that will push for liberation and is actually doing the action. President Ibrahim Traoré has had more than 16 plus assassination attempts. He's been castigated by the French people, saying that they are ungrateful, and so many good things that Ibrahim Traoré has been doing. Recently, an attempt was made in his life, and the person got caught. And the person confessed that it was from the Western leaders. There's another story that one of his close allies was offered $5 million, but he turned it down. Actually took the money to Ibrahim Traoré and exposed everything. I don't know how true is this, like which one is the actual truth, but I know that it's happening, right? Let me now tell you guys the pattern and why I feel like liberation of Africa is it's a long shot. It's a long shot. This is the pattern. Someone, usually a young person in the military, rises up in the form of coup d'etat to eliminate the ruling party or whoever that is ruling. Sometimes it's bloody, sometimes it is not bloody, but usually it's bloody. This guy comes on top and starts changing policies. Now, these policies will favor the people locally and will disrupt the businesses of the externals. And when I say externals, I don't mean African countries that are externals, because mind you, African countries, we don't gain from each other. The only people that gains from Africa is people outside Africa, because it's easier to do transactions. Imagine this. It's easier for you to do transaction with a different continent than to do a transaction within the continent. It's like saying to do a business transaction between France and Spain is way harder than to do a transaction between France and Nigeria. It is abnormal outside Africa, but very normal within Africa. So when I go back to the point that the externals will be affected, I mean those countries that are not, those first world countries or developing countries that are not within Africa are going to be affected. The Middle Eastern countries, Russia, China, and the Western countries, and the European countries, America and the rest. Once this is affected, you will realize something. They will start having sanctions. You understand? They will start having a lot of backlash, a lot of media bad stories or no media bad stories. How many times have you heard the good things that Ibrahim Traoré has been doing for Burkina Faso? Have you heard it in any of the mainstream news, like CNN? You only hear it in TikTok by Africans like us. You don't hear it in the mainstream news. They are playing a game. They are playing a game, and we have to be vigilant. I want to prove to you guys these things in real time. So the next step is to eliminate this guy that is changing these things. And that elimination comes from his close circle. Could even come from his own brother. If that doesn't work, Ibrahim Traoré, you cannot, that guy has had 16 plus attempted assassination on him. It didn't work. Yeah? The latest news is that they caught someone that tried to place a bomb, and then they bribed one of his friends with $5 million and he turned it down or whatever. That's the story now. The third one now is to activate chaos in that country. What do I mean by activating chaos? You see the militants, for example in Nigeria, Mossad, Jihad, Boko Haram, all these things are planned work of the Westerners. When the president does not, or the ruling person does not agree with their terms, which is usually extorting from Africa, they activate these things. They activate all this agitation to disrupt everything so that they can come at the back and continue what they are doing. Or show the world that you see this president, see what he's doing, we have to remove him. That is what they are trying to do now. The last week or last 2 weeks, an unknown group, they call themselves jihadists, went and killed people in the villages. Why are they killing? The point is that why are they killing? Because Ibrahim Traoré is not doing anything bad. He's been doing things good. So who are these people that are killing? Listen. Now there is a protest in France. They call themselves so-called Burkina Faso youths, protesting that Ibrahim Traoré should step down, that they want democracy. Let's keep quiet. The next thing, mark my words, Ibrahim Traoré's stories of him oppressing his people will start coming out in the mainstream. He will start being tagged by like a dictator. A lot of news will come out that he was an evil person. Mark my words. And his people will turn against him. And Burkina Faso will be worse than they were before Ibrahim Traoré comes in. I always say this. In fact, I am Igbo and I love my people. When in the last election in Nigeria, when Peter Obi was trying to be the president of Nigeria, I said it and I told people that choose to listen. I said no, I don't want that man to rule. Not because he's not the perfect person for Nigeria, but because he doesn't know the kind of game he's trying to go into. Ibrahim Traoré went to this top place with a very tough mind. That's not how you play the game. You would lose because these people are light years above you. But then, I don't want to be a nihilist. We have to keep trying. But mark my words, these are the things that are coming for Ibrahim Traoré. He would be labeled a dictator. There will be a lot of sanctions on Burkina Faso. They will be alienated from the rest of the world. And Ibrahim Traoré will be killed by his own people that he has been trying to help. And Burkina Faso will be worse than they were before. These are my predictions, not a doom's prediction. It's a pattern that has been working. And I want everyone to save this video and be reminded on how deep this issue is. I rest my case. Good day.
Wow, what a wonderful news today. The whole world is responding. I think this one is more than a news. Iran joined force, Islamic force, warned Israel citizens to move out of their way in Tel Aviv and some other neighboring cities, major city. They call it the fire zone. And they want Israel or Israeli to move out of their way because they are not safe in that place. And in response to that, Israel launched another attack on some facilities in Tehran and also released their own warning that the civilians should move out of their way because they still have more to go. Remember, a few days ago, Pakistan warned the US that they should not join the war. But US says they will join the war if they decide to. And few hours or days ago, President Trump tweeted that they have taken over Iranian airspace and they are working on that space heavily and nothing to stop them. That sent a signal to Iran, and he warned Iranians that they should return back to negotiation table. It's like Trump is working on something. On the other hand, is condemning the Prime Minister Netanyahu for launching an attack on Iranian. It's a region that launched attack, called that the TV station or whatever they did. Say no. Why did you do that? And suddenly, another news that break out right now, that Iran is warning or asking US that they will return to the negotiation table if US don't join the war. President Trump had a conversation with Putin as regards the leader of Iran, and according to source, conversation was leaked, and that sent like a panic mode and activated some certain things. You know, all of them are afraid of this nuclear. Don't use nuclear. Pakistan warning Israel, if you dare use nuclear, we're going to retaliate. US, if you use nuclear on these guys, we're going to use nuclear on Israel. Listen, guys, the world is on another level, and we are threatened by our own creation, weapons, missiles, drones, nuclear powers, warheads. These are creations of men. The question you ask yourself, why do we create? Why do we anticipate attacks? And even as I speak to you right now, in Nigeria, a place called Benue State, a whole city, villages being burned down, people being burned unalive, attacked by the people they call herdsmen. Unarmed men destroying unarmed communities. Things ranges from region to region, from nations to nation, from continent to continent. What does this tell us as Africans? It's time for us to work together and defend the dignity and the sovereignty of our continent, of our people. Because the world power, they are so engrossed with their own agenda. Their plans of who is bigger, who is better. They don't care about the little guys. And that is why every leader in Africa, political leaders in particular, when you become a governor, a president, a minister, the first thing that should come to your mind shouldn't be how to buy the biggest car to protect yourself. It is to roll on your sleeve and get your hands soiled and get to work. Because the environment will not work until the people make it work. If you go to sleep, then everything becomes stagnant. We must wake up to our responsibility. Because why these powers are thinking about creating more missiles, drones, and bombs to defend themselves, they are not thinking Africa. They have already said if they can divide Africa, that's all they need to do. They don't need to even use anything to destroy Africa. The little guns they send to Africa and the sponsor in Africa, they are watching it because they know Africa is already splitted. A people divided against each other, against themselves, they cannot stand. That is why we Africans, the black race across the nations of the world, we must rise against every destruction, terrorism that come against our people, whether you are home or you are abroad. Whatever happened to one, happened to all. It's time to create a tolerance atmosphere, a peaceful environment. It's time to fight against what fight us and unite against what is working against us. Blackness is not blindness. Blackness is not blindness. We must rise to the occasion, train our mind, reposition ourselves, build ourselves. That is why African Human Capacity Development Initiative is here to help in any capacity to train even government officials. We're ready to go to nations. We're ready to go to villages, highways and byway. We must put our foot on ground because one person cannot do this. We must raise more people capable of defending the masses, speaking for the masses, supporting the masses across the continent. If you love Africa, if you love your nation, if you love the people, if you are in support of Africa, home and abroad, white or black, hit that plus button. Leave me an honest opinion. We are looking for patriotic citizens across the nations of the world who will support this movement to help Africa build itself, stand by itself, develop itself, defend itself, and become the best place on the planet Earth. Listen, Africa is the hope of the entire world. Therefore, we must not throw away our confidence, for there is a reward waiting for us. We must not throw away our confidence. We must harness our resources and put them to best use for the common good of all. God bless you. Hit the share button, follow me, subscribe to this channel if you love what you're doing here. Enjoy the rest of your day.